Hello everyone, I'm Ishita and I'm going to be a mentor for the Hackathon Scratch um, event, and I'm going to be basically introducing you to Scratch and helping you familiarize yourself with the platform so you have a basic idea when you start your coding journey. So what is Scratch? Scratch is a free programming language and an online community where you can create your own interactive stories, games, and animations. Scratch helps young people learn to think creatively, reason systematically, and work collaboratively. Essential skills for life in the 21st century. Users of the site can create projects on the web by using a block-like interface. So basically, how do we create an account for Scratch is when you go on to www.scratch.mit.edu. There'll be a join button as shown in the picture. And upon clicking the join button, you would be taken to make an account. So you can make your own username and password and create your own account. After which, there's a create button here, which would basically take you to your coding page and from where you could be able to create. I will share my screen onto the create coding page just so that I can show you all the blocks and tell you the function of each block now. Give me a second for that. So currently I'm in the Scratch editor page, and shown here below are basically the different blocks and sections that you have that you would be basically using to code. So basically I'd start with this character, and this character is basically known as a sprite, and this is what you basically control to get an action from. Okay, and there are three tabs here, which is code, costumes, and sounds. So costumes essentially allows you to create costumes for your sprite. And so how you can choose a sprite is you can either take a sprite that's given by Scratch. So you can choose a bear. I'm going to choose Ben. I'm just going to keep him here. And then you can even add different backdrops. So I'm going to choose a backdrop, and there's a huge variety that you can choose from. So here are my two sprites. Okay. So I'm just going to briefly introduce to you each section. So the motion blocks. The motion block basically has okay, before we start with the motion block, I think I'll go to the events block, because the events block is basically essentially what starts the code. Okay, so this button is basically when flag is clicked. So when flag clicked refers to this flag over here, which essentially starts the beginning of the code. So when the flag is clicked, the code, this button would, anything after this segment of code will get triggered. So if I am supposed to say, when the flag is clicked, this sprite will move 10 steps. The sprite will move 10 steps. The distance it moves is very small, because 10 steps is very small in the Scratch interface. So I'll make it 60 steps just so you can see that when flag is clicked, it'll move 60 steps. You can change its angle. Okay, you can even go to a random position. So if your code focuses on going to a different place, you can go to a random position. So when flag is clicked, it automatically moves to a random place. So every time I run this code, it will go to a different place. Okay, so this block is basically takes the X and Y coordinates as if you're going to take your run screen to be an XY coordinate graph. So anything in the top half becomes the positive, and the bottom half becomes the negative for the y-axis, and the right becomes the positive for the x-axis, and the left becomes the negative for the x-axis. Okay, so I can basically specify a value here. So I'm just going to remove or delete this block, and then I'm going to say move 60 steps, turn 15 degrees, and then go to X and Y position as given. So it's basically turned. One second, let me just change the thing. It's already at the event. Okay, so I'm going to start it, and it has turned 60 degrees more, to 15 degrees more, and then gone to X 56 and Y 76. Okay, so you can even use if on edge bounds. Then there's set rotation style, X position, Y position. So here you can actually use move X position steps. So basically this is another variable that you can use to move your sprite by a, like, not by a constant number of steps. So looks. So here you basically your interaction in your user interface with your user interaction with the sprite. So basically you can have hello, so you can have text, or you can have like an interactive thing. You can have thing. So basically this is very helpful for a storyline. Okay, and even here we have switch costume to do. So basically if some trigger action is triggered, and then you could have switch costume to do. So then when switch costume to do is, the costume has been changed in the running screen. So this would basically help change your costume, and the costumes can be chosen from here. So I can like have my new, I can have like literally even change my sprites. This can be my third costume, and I can switch costume to ABD. So then my character can also change midway. Um, you can also change color effect. So you can basically have a gradient, a fisheye, whirl, pixelate. Okay. And then you can also clear graphic effects. So after you're done with your specific that part of the code, you can just clear all the graphic effects. Show and hide are basically to remove your sprite from the screen and show them. So I can basically put show here, delete block, and then I'm going to hide them for that minute, and I'm going to put the show block here. So when I run this code, sorry, okay, when I'm going to run this code, so it will show, I'll come back. So this is basically how show and hide work. Moving on to sound. So sound is basically helping you play a sound in the background. So you have a sound interface here. You can actually work with sounds and like editing them. You can have faster, slower fade, and you can even copy sections of the sound and then paste them towards the end. So you basically edit the sound in the way you want your code to have and your project to have. You can change pitch. You can basically experiment here. So the events tab. So sometimes when you have a game or something, when flag clicked is not the only option you have. You can have when space key is pressed. So suppose I'm doing a game where I need the character to move left and right. So basically I can say when right key is pressed, move, change X by 10. So the character is going to move by 10. So suppose I'm going to click the flag. Okay, and then I say when the right arrow key is pressed, the character moves by 10. So I'm currently pressing my right arrow key, and the character is moving out of frame. And so next going to the once again, then you go to once. So you can even have when I receive a message. So you can actually have your own personalized message. So when hello is broadcasted, then you can have another trigger. So next to the control section, you would have basically a lot of loops here that you can utilize for your code. So here is wait a certain amount of time. So basically this part helps you to space out and create your code so that you're able to debug it with errors, because it basically allows you to have a timing for everything. Okay, repeat 10 is basically a loop where you can ask a character to repeat a certain action multiple times. So I can basically have repeat 10, and then I can say repeat 10 times, you want to move 15 degrees, and then you move 10 steps. Okay, so once again, and I'm going to say when flag is clicked, I'm going to wait 10 seconds, and then you're going to repeat it 10 times. Okay, but the thing is, I'm going to take this code into my backpack, and then I'm going to shift it to bench so that you'd be able to see it better. So you can see 10 times and he moved 15 degrees. So basically he moved 10 steps. He turned 15 degrees and then moved 10 steps. So going back to the other loops that we have. So forever loop. So you want an action to be done multiple times. So basically, I'll give you an example here. Suppose we're going to do one flag is clicked. You're going to say hello for 2 seconds. You want the character to consistently have the hello on the screen the entire time. So I want to say in the forever loop. So then I can say in the forever loop, say hello for 2 seconds and then change X by 10. So basically you want your character is going to continue doing that till the code is terminated. you have repeat until, wait until, and the thing is, all okay, so these codes, right, they have these blank spaces, so you can specify a condition yourself. So you can have operators. So if the certain condition is met, then this bar is triggered. So you can have the if control in the middle of any other loop. And so basically you can say if 20 is greater than 50, then you can do this. Okay, going back to, you can even create clones, delete clones, and all these options also. So going back to sensing. Now sensing is one of the variables, or like it basically allows you to check your interaction between the different sprites and make a lot of things possible. So it basically acts as a variable. So wait, once again. So suppose, so if my mouse pointer is, if it's touching edge, then so basically if my character is sprite is touching the edge, then I can have a certain things, because like sometimes you want to keep bring your character back on screen. So it can be a debugging idea for you guys. Okay, one color is touching this, you want to trigger a certain action when you're doing maybe a game of tic-tac-toe, or if it's, or like um, if you're doing something like four in a row where you want to see if the four colors are aligned. So if the colors are touching, then a certain action can be triggered. So then you can basically press maybe you win or something. Okay, so you have different variables that have been given to you. You can actually experiment and use these variables and input it in under various blocks. The next we move on to the operators. So the operators, I did mention previously, are basically like conditions that you would require. So you can basically say 10 plus 10 for 2 seconds. Okay, so you basically say 20 for 2 seconds. So then even under operator blocks, I can actually add um, I basically move that one. So say join banana and apple. So because they can say apple banana together. Okay, so you have mod, you have round. There are a lot of different ones that are there. So like if an apple contains a, so if you're doing something like a search or a, then you can actually check if apple contains a, and then you can have um sorry, then you can have say something in 2 seconds. Okay, if we move on to variables, so variables are basically a variable that you can create in case you don't, you have to have something custom. Suppose if you're creating a counter or a timer, so then you can actually create my variable, and then you can say for this sprite only, I'm going to say it's a counter. So so then I'll say when flag is clicked, repeat. No, so basically if I'm to code something with this, I'm going to say um, I'm going to go back to Ben, so it's a more clear thing for you. Okay, so when flag is clicked, and I'm going to say if I'm going to put operators here. Sorry. If okay, if space key is pressed. Okay, so then if space key is pressed, then set. Wait, oh sorry, I didn't create a variable. Sorry, I made it for the other variable, so let me just edit that. It's a count. Okay, so now I have my variable. So then you can say set my variable to count. Okay, and then if space key is pressed, sorry, this should have been set count to that and change count by 1. So I have a sprite 1 counter count. So basically delete the sprite. Then you would have, when I run this code, then every time I press, so give me a second, there is, I can just figure out what the mistake here is. Anyway, so once again, I'm not able to figure out what the error is. I think it's something to do with the show and hide thing, and I'm not able to basically. Once again, when the up key is pressed, it's saying change count by one. I'm sorry, I'm not able to figure out what's wrong in this. I'm just gonna get back to you later on why my counter didn't work or why it's not showing that. But moving ahead, this is basically how you can use your count or like anything. So you can have a timer, you can have a setting or whatever. Okay, yeah, I know why it didn't work now, but like basically I'm not able to display it. I'm just changing the count, but it's gonna to change it here. There are four more steps of code required here, but I don't have the time for that right now. Okay, and so here are my blocks. You can basically make a block. Okay, so basically I can create a label. Um, okay, so basically it's like hello or print or something. So basically you can have a text, a label, a boolean. It's anything. So it's up to you. So you can actually create your own custom blocks as well. Okay, here this is a whole extension that you can have. So basically you have an erase all extension, pen down, pen up. So basically these things are very useful, especially when you have things like drawing or like speech text. So there are more. So you can have video sensing, text to speech. So you can say speak hello, okay, or speak, or so basically it creates a easier interactive session. So you can even have translate. So you can even have like a whole translator that you can create. So speak, translate hello into Finnish. So you can actually interact with also a wide audience with your code. Okay, so the requirements for each thing are given. There's music, there's makey makey. Okay, when space key is pressed, then you have your own triggers for music here, I think. Okay, so that's there. So now I'm going to go back onto the costume section. So basically each sprite itself on Scratch has its own costumes, but you can actually edit the sprite. So you can actually have my own sprite with a triangle rectangle. So if you want to have like sprites that are not available and you're not able to like take characters from the internet, what you can essentially do is you can select your, we're going to delete the sprite, but like suppose this is my, okay, suppose this is my thing. Okay, so then I can actually have text on the sprite, and then my new sprite can become, just change the color. So this will become my new sprite and become hello, my name is. Okay, so basically then my new sprite can have a custom text that I would like on my thing. So I can just select this, and then that basically becomes my new sprite and I have all control over it. So you can even change costumes like that. You can even like import, or like they're even like dancers. You can have like their costumes would include their dance steps. So Scratch does give you all the options for this. Okay, so I'll just show you a sample code now. That basically it's a drawing. It's an example of a program that helps people draw on it. So I'm just going to share my screen for that. Okay, so okay, so here is an example of a drawing project that I have taken from the Scratch website. This is not my own coded one, but someone did it. And I think it's a cool example, and this basically utilizes a lot of sprites. It has only one backdrop, but like um, it has been, this code has a good mixture of user interaction and as well as a good amount of coding as well. But I think for the hackathon, we would require you to have maybe a more like a well created project, and like something that you have a thought that goes into it. There's a flow into your game or your animation or your story or whatever you're trying to present to us in your project. Okay, so basically I'm going to exclude the first 10 sprites here, and I'm going to first directly jump to the pencil sprite. Okay, so this pencil sprite basically is the sprite that basically does all the work. I'm just going to run the program so you see what happens here before I go on. So okay, give me, okay, so basically for this thing, I can, it basically starts with a pen size of 1, and it starts with a black pen, and then after which I can then edit. Okay, then which I can edit and then change my pen colors. Okay, then even change my pen size. Okay, and then erase. Okay, and now this is a very basic Scratch coding thing. Okay, so I'm going to stop this program. I'm going to explain to you each bit. So now when it's saying that when flag is clicked, you set pen color to black. So the second the program starts, your pen color is black. So when the program runs, the first thing I write with is black. After which it just goes to mouse. The pen shows, and it just is into a forever loop of going into mouse pointer. Okay, basically the pen is always where your mouse pointer is at. That's basically what this code is doing. That wherever my mouse pointer is at, where the pencil will follow. So suppose I say if it's to go to sprite 1, then my pencil would always remain there. Even when I click, on the program, it's gonna have trouble following me, and it's gonna return to that same position every time. See? So it's not following the way the motion was earlier. I'm gonna go back to mouse pointer, and then I will be able to draw with it. Okay, I'm gonna stop the program now. So now here, basically these codes here, when I receive yellow. So basically what it says is when you here get red, yellow, green, blue, and the different colors here, then they will change your pen color. So I can basically have change pen to green, click this, and then get green. So basically that's what's the deciding factor here. So basically for all these first 10 sprites is basically when I touch, or when I receive red, then the following is to happen. So this basically takes from this the set pen color too. So basically that's the code that has been utilized here. Okay, even when flag is clicked, they have to start with a default pen size of 1. So set pen size to 1, and forever set pen size to pen size. So here is where the variable has been created, and that pen size is basically what we are focusing on. Okay, so this is the example of the variable that I was unable to give earlier. So this is basically a variable that the programmer or the coder has done themselves. It's a pen size, and this pen size is now utilized here. So set pen size to 1, and then forever set pen size to pen size. So when you make a change, when you make a change, the code will follow through, and it will not revert back to its original state. So that's where the forever loop is used. Okay, so here you also have when I receive pink, when I receive black. Okay, so here there's another thing, that if the space key is pressed, so then the mouse is basically down or up. So like sometimes you don't want to draw, and you just want to like move your pencil around. So because the space key is pressed, then it's on mouse down. So that's basically a code option here. Okay, and you basically, this is your first screen. Basically what it's saying is when flag is clicked, go to the first screen and go to the front layer. So you basically become the first layer of the thing, and then you hide. So you're going to stay there. So you can actually have here, and then you can go for wait 2 seconds. So you're going to stay on the screen for 2 seconds, and then you basically hide. So you have each code for each different sprite. This part of the coding should not make any much difference, because this part has already been coded in each individual code for when I receive. So even if I change the code color from here, it would not make a difference. But then this is a debugging strategy, just in case if there's an error from the pencil sprite, then even if you touch red, it would work here. And this also has a pop sound. So if I'm not able to share my audio, every time I click on red or orange, I can hear a pop sound that accompanies it. Okay. And this is basically the trash thing. So basically, again, the erase all is from the pen section, and then I can just basically erase all. So erase all basically means clearing my screen completely. The eraser is also um, the eraser was also coded here. Let's see, so, okay, so when eraser, so basically becomes the pen color becomes white, and you're essentially able to rewrite over everything. Okay, so and then you have an eraser. You can even change your pen color, set pen color too. So you can even have like a whole gradient that you create. So you can have like a rainbow that you draw, or your pen color changing its color every 10 seconds or something like that. So you have a lot of variety that you can code here. So I think that's where the training session for Scratch is going to end now. And thank you so much for listening and going through this.